everybody. This is Patti Negri. Welcome to the Witching Hour. Yes, that hour of the day when the veil is thin and magic happens. I have some super duper magic for you today. I indeed have my personal friend and magical man indeed, Mystic Dylan. So let me tell you a little bit about him before I introduce him. For over 2 decades, Dylan has studied and perfected his craft of the occult. He currently lives and works in Los Angeles. He teaches classes, runs his own coven, and is the founder of this amazing and beautiful brick and mortar shop, the Olde World Emporium. Mystic Dylan is also the published author of several books, including the best-selling Candle Magic for Beginners, and as well as a witchcraft consultant on the new AMC series, The Mayfair Witches, based on the Anne Rice novels. Yes, indeed, that amazing show we are all watching, The Mayfair Witches, Dylan is a part of. He is the consultant. So welcome, Dylan.
Thank you, Patti. Thanks for having me.
I am so happy to have you on. Yay.
Yeah.
So again, and you do have a beautiful shop in the Santa
Thank
Clarita
you.
area. It's big and beautiful, and it looks like, I don't know what it looks like.
I don't know. It's like people tell me it's like if Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion had a baby. I don't know. It's kind of like Old World Saloon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very, and I honestly, I think it's just, I love old stuff. So I just like fill it.
Yeah, no, and it's big and spacious, and you have all the apothecary that you need, and the magic, and then sarcophagus, and it's like
yeah, it's it almost looks like someone said it looks like Indiana Jones' office. If Indiana Jones had like a home office,
it would be that. So
yeah.
So I highly recommend anywhere near the greater Los Angeles area or headed up that way, check it out.
Thank you.
So how did you get on this path, this magical path? I know a little bit on your bio. You started very young.
Yeah. It was actually my mother. So when I lived growing up, I grew up in LA. And I actually lived right behind Panpipes, which used to be in Hollywood. Yeah, before Vicky moved. It's in East Hollywood now, called Pan's Apotheca. But I was right there. So my mom was very big, not necessarily into witchcraft, but she loved crystals and she loved aromatherapy. So we frequented this shop. I mean, I've known the owner, Vicky, since I was 9, and she even remembers, like, I walked in, she was making a candle for a customer, and I remember being like, witches are real? Like, in my mind, it was only in TV, and like, she was like carving this candle and sprinkling herbs on it. And I think from that moment, I was like, it's real. And honestly, I would say that it really was Los Angeles, because aside from that shop, I also frequented, my mother would take me to a shop called the Bodhi Tree, which was another metaphysical shop. And that was on, not La Brea, where was it?
Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Melrose, Beverly, right there.
Melrose and Beverly. And it was right next to Earth Cafe. So my mom used to go to Earth Cafe, and then I would be next door, back when kids were allowed to do what they wanted. And I would just sit next door and I would peruse their books. For my 13th birthday, my mom gave me a tarot deck. So that was kind of like it, like tarot, I have tarot, I'm going to do this. And I think ever since then, I also grew up in Florida. So my grandmother is Cuban as well as German Jew. And there's a lot of folklore in Cuba. And in Miami, there's a lot of Santeria. So I was really brought up in this practice at an early age. And I was fortunate that I didn't really have, my parents weren't really that religious. So they were pretty much like, if, they have your path of discovery.
Good. Yeah. Oh my God, we had to have crossed paths then.
I'm sure. Well, I know that we did definitely at Green Man, because I was a reader at Green Man, and I remember seeing you. But I'm sure we must have crossed paths, because like I'm sure you frequented the Bodhi Tree
and Panpipes. I've been going to Panpipes since 2 owners before Vicky.
Wow.
My first occult teacher was George Derby.
Oh my gosh.
I studied under George Derby. Married my husband and I. We had a hand fasting in the backyard. Yeah, it was great. He was my first real occult teacher. And
Wow.
so yeah, it's a small community,
It,
but
it
my gosh, you were
really
probably a
is.
little kid. I was like, look at these kids. No.
Yeah, you were probably like, who's this kid in the tarot section? Move
Oh, that
over. And it's it's funny because my grandfather, my grandfather who passed, he like, and a lot of families don't think of that, but like my nightstand, like it was like the Quran, the Bible. I had books on Aleister Crowley, or he did, not me. So he was very open to spirituality and religion, and I think there aren't that many shops like the Bodhi Tree anymore that have
no.
that universal eclectic feel.
Yeah, no, and that was all encompassing and such
Really
a big
was.
library and it was kind of a hangout place too. It had tea in the
Was. Yeah, I
corner.
had tea in the corner, and there were the couches, which is
Yeah,
what I try to have in my shop. That's why I have the little couches. That's my ode to the Bodhi tree.
that's beautiful. Yeah, yeah. And Panpipes was there forever, for way before you were
Absolutely.
born,
I
probably way
know.
before I was
Yeah.
there. It was um
Yeah.
when I was young, I was going to one in Long Beach called the Eye of the Cat.
Oh my God, I love Eye of the Cat.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It closed, right?
I did it.
Did it close? I know they had a fire not too long ago. I
Did
don't
they?
know.
I don't know. I have not been there. I used to do a convention in Long Beach. It's like I got to stock up on Eye of the Cat because
Yes.
up
And
here.
let me tell you, I've never talked about like witches because like I remember like they had like cats running around, and it was very kind of old, musty, like I don't know. It was like if there was a stereotypical witch shop, that was it.
Yes, it was. And then when I moved up to Hollywood area and discovered Panpipes in the early day was that too.
Yes,
And I
yes.
thought every witch shop must smell like cats. It must,
It must. It must. It
it must
must.
smell like change
Yeah.
order box.
Okay. I'm glad you and I are on the same page because I didn't want to say what it smelled like, so I was like musty. But yeah, it was that like that witches live here.
Exactly. And still change the litter box. But
Oh
that is
yes. There are witches. Like I am a witch that changes the litter box.
me too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, that was just so magical. And then when so it's like, or the Bodhi Tree, which was not just a witch store, it was everything.
Right, it was
Buddhism
everything.
and it's like, oh, it doesn't smell like cat pee.
Exactly. And I believe they even had cats. So I think, I get props to anyone who does have cats though in shops like that, because we considered it, but I'm so scared that a cat would knock over crystals or jump on things. I don't know. Maybe they have to be older cats.
Older cats, cats are pretty good. It's not like dog. Do you have cats in life?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a cat. She was actually gonna be a shop cat. She ended up staying at home.
Because cats, well, not saying I have a wild little thing, so she might knock things over, but they're pretty agile. I just more worry about them like running out the door when somebody came in.
Yeah, my cat, when I lived in New York, she's with my grandmother now. She used to eat my chime candles. So that's how I was like, she is not my familiar.
Give that back. I need that.
Yeah, she's like, no.
Oh, that's funny. So again, I met you several years ago, way back man, and you teach and you run a coven and you do all sorts, and you're an author and you write.
Yeah.
How did you get into the TV vision world of things? I mean, that's, you know how impressive that is? The Mayfair Witches and
I know. It kind of it was weird. One of my clients ended up being she was a director for several of the episodes, and she essentially called me and she said, I'm having a moment. Her name's Axel. She was like, can you kind of help with this? And then I was like, sure. So she gave them my number. Then like the associate producer called me, and then someone else called me, and then I got all these emails, and then it really turned into just a conversation. They had me on Zoom meetings, and it honestly is a dream come true because like when Vampire Diaries came out, I was up to be a consultant for that, and they chose to use Google instead.
Google works cheap,
Google works too, I guess. And then I was up for when they were doing Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. They were going to have me on for that too. So I had several kind of ins and outs, but yeah, so my friend Axel, she directed several episodes of this, and she put me in contact, and it's pretty much it's been an amazing experience, you know, because I appreciate their dedication to, I mean, obviously it's a fantastical show, so they take a lot of license, but a lot of the spells that they speak, they're Latin spells, they're spells with historical background. The sigils that they utilize are sigils that aren't made up, that are like from historic texts. So I'm pretty proud of it, because, you know, at the end of the day, they fulfilled their kind of obligation for the community.
Yeah, and I love a show that wants to do that, to make us look right in some way.
Exactly. You know, because sometimes they try to go right, and then they end up going really, really wrong.
Yeah, I have a little a live show called the Witches Movie Coven, and we talk, we'll have to come have you on, because we're going to start talking more. We've only talked once about the Mayfair Witches, but we all have to catch up and talk more. So we should come have you a guest appearance. But yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it's interesting. What's funny is that I remember when I was a senior in high school, I was reading that novel, you know, like I read The Witching Hour, and I didn't read the rest, so I haven't read Lasher or the other ones, but I remember reading that one and like dreaming of New Orleans and the New Orleans, you know, all that, and then I end up going to New Orleans, and that's a huge part of my life. So I feel like I have this, and I've always loved Anne Rice, so I feel like I have this tie with it, so it's like kind of fortuitous that it comes full circle.
Yeah, it is perfect. And again, and you know what you're doing, as someone more educated than you, it's good. So what kind of stuff, again, your shop is just all encompassing. Do you guys have workshops there and everything? What do you teach?
Yeah, we do a bunch of workshops and classes. We are currently, I'm teaching my Mysteries of Witchcraft, so it's kind of like a 101. It's a 9-week course, and it's in person. We're trying to get to the realm of doing Zoom stuff. It's just a lot. But we do a lot of classes. We have a lot of different teachers with different backgrounds that we try to bring in, because, you know, the goal for me and the shop is to show that witchcraft is more than what, you know, a lot of people have the idea of Wicca, which is a religion, and then there's witchcraft, which is a practice. Right. So really it's letting people know that everyone can practice magic. All walks of life can practice magic, regardless of age or creed or ethnicity or things like that. So we really try to have the literature and books and practitioners that reflect that. And all, I think a lot of people get hesitant of, you know, they're fearful of the word witch. They're fearful of, you know, what magic is, and the shop is kind of there to let people know that, one, they can learn, there's a place to learn, there's a home base, they can have a community, and two, that we have the resources to kind of provide, and you know, our staff is very knowledgeable, and I'm a huge academic, so I always make sure that anyone I hire or I have on staff is part of that academic, has that knowledge.
Know what they're doing. That's great. Now I mean, I understand panpipes in the middle of Hollywood, or even Eye of the Cat in the middle of downtown Long Beach. You're kind of out a beautiful area, but it's a little more suburban. Were you worried about
Santa Clarita
witchcraft shop in maybe a little more conservative area?
Right next to the Catholic Church. But and yes, and a lot of people, my mom was concerned for me. You know, she's like, is this the right choice? Are you doing this? And I don't know what came first, the cart or the horse. I know that I was moving to Santa Clarita at the time. But I do remember driving by, and we were stuck at a light, and I look at this space, and it looks like a Western saloon, like the outside, the facade. And I could see the space, and then I could see a room in the back. And in my mind, I was like, that's a reading room. And I was like, and I see this, and I immediately contacted the landlord. My personal credit is shit. And I don't know. It was like something happened and it just happened so quickly. And I've been met with such I thought I was going to get a lot of pushback and restraint, and honestly it's more been accolades. Literally 2 days ago, someone came in, a woman from the church. She's about to get married, and you know how they do the, I don't know if it's marriage counseling, but you see the priests to kind of prep, and I
Yeah,
guess the
it's kind of like
deacon,
pre-marriage counseling.
yeah, it's like a marriage counseling prior to getting married. But the deacon was like, have you ever thought of getting a reading? And recommended the shop. And so like now I have to like make him a thank you basket.
Oh
But
my God, that
yeah,
is brilliant.
I know we've been met with a lot of kind of praise. And I think, and a lot of people don't want to hear it, but if you look at specifically like Catholicism, there's a lot of magic and ceremonial magic in that. And we get a lot of the people from the church. They come in, they get our candles, they'll get our oils. We sell like the Novena 7-day candles. They love that. We have a Spanish community that comes in. So I mean, I think for the most part, it's we've had a nice steady flow.
That is beautiful. Yeah, if you could be the person to come to for counseling, for their pre-marriage counseling to get married.
There we go, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
here.
No, because I do. I study religion and philosophy. My grandfather was that person, but he wrote it from an atheist perspective, but he still studied it. And
Wait, that's my grandfather too. My grandfather was also an atheist.
Yeah, they
But he
probably
was
know each
very
other.
academic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grandfather, pure academic, came from
Oh my
Turkey.
God.
He writes books on sex and religion and occult and yeah.
Amazing.
But Catholics do seem the closest to what we do: frankincense, myrrh, censers. Ritual.
Absolutely.
Protestants don't
Altar.
do that.
An altar. Yeah, it's so true.
Ah, so now we just know that I mean, in the world, it's actually the fastest growing religion is witchcraft right now.
It is. It is.
And when again, we obviously get it because we're both witches. What do you think it is? Is it because the world is scary and people are needing something more that they'll be able to get from their traditional religion? Or
I agree. I think it's that, and honestly, I think it is the reclaiming of power. And if you look at the history of witchcraft, and I was actually just reading a book on this the other day, a lot of witchcraft literally grew from a sense of enslavement and feeling the hands were being tied. And witchcraft is not, I mean, it can be beautiful and it can be this amazing thing, but it was born out of a need to fight back. A lot of the first spells documented, they're not spells of love. A lot of the first spells are, like dominate my master, and remove, like prolong life, get rid of hunger. So I do think that now when we are in political, emotional turmoil, things are kind of up in the air, we just had a pandemic, I think people are like, you know what, I don't need a middleman. I need to bring the power myself. And I found that a lot during COVID, because I opened the shop in late 2019. So I opened it mid-pandemic. Yeah. And obviously we were cautious, like we stuck to the protocol for lockdown, but by the time the lockdown ended, we had people running through the doors and they were like, I need something. I need to educate myself. I need to know what's up, and not to talk ill about anyone. But a lot of people were like, God is not the answer, and I'm having a disconnect from whoever. A lot of people couldn't go to church, so I think they needed that immediate connection to spirit. So I think it's a lot of that. I think now is the time, and if you also think about paganism, if you think about witchcraft, yes, there are rules, but it's first and foremost living for yourself. And I think that is one of the beautiful things about it. So I think a lot of people are trying to reclaim, and historically speaking, a witch, and it's not just Christianity, even in the pagan temples, a witch was someone that did not need the priest or the middleman. They were their own middle person. So I think a lot of people are figuring that out. They're like, oh my God, I can be my own conduit to my higher self or spirit or universe or God. So I think it's really good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's an empowering word, not do as we say because we say so.
Precisely.
You find your truth, you find your right, you do what you choose. And it's like,
yes.
And people feel helpless again from pandemics and from strife and all that. So you can't just like, okay, go do a prayer or ask somebody else to forgive you. It's like,
no. And I think even today people still perpetuate the myth of like, witchcraft is bad, witchcraft is evil. But I think they do that because one, they're afraid, and fear comes from lack of knowing. And two, I think that, sometimes people fear power, they fear control because it's easier to blame someone else instead of blaming yourself for whatever things go wrong. And I think now is the time. I think a part of me is like, I think everyone should be a witch.
Or whatever word you want to use, is take your power back. It's take your power back. Yeah, I am there with you. So
and I would say therapeutically, and I'm sure you can agree to this too, witchcraft has helped me as a person. It really has. I mean, not my personal life, but like my parents have been through a lot. I was a child of divorce. My parents had addiction issues and all these things, and going through school and dealing with stuff. And I will say one of the things that consistently helped me, and I'm grateful that I discovered witchcraft at such an early age, is that I always felt I had a control over something.
Yeah, and again, it's taking the power back. I think what you were saying about how they say it's evil, I think whatever they are, the rulers or the patriarchy or the government, they say evil to anything that's powerful.
100%.
It doesn't matter. And it's even things like breaking a mirror, the number 13, and walking under a ladder, a black cat crossing. It's like, that's not good or bad. It's just powerful.
It's just power.
It's just power. Yeah.
Yes. And, being someone like I lived in Louisiana for a year, I went through the studies of voodoo. I living in Miami half my life. I went through also the studies of Santeria and knowing that. And when you look at the word black magic, there are so many racial connotations with that, because what is black magic? It is, think of the imagery. It's bones. It is archaic. It is primitive. It is all the things that are not the white, light, crystal, whatever. And I think, now we're coming into the world where it's like, what the most protective color is black. We wear black to protect ourselves. We carry black stones to avert evil. But those on the outside, they change this narrative. So it's like, they're like, are you a white witch? And it's like, no, it's witch.
I know, I can't use white. Plus, although even the racial stuff, white is good and black is bad. Excuse me, when we used to have slaves in this country?
Exactly. and I don't know about you, I've never met a black woman calling herself a white witch. So I try to remove color from it.
I do too.
It's just it's relative. It's witchcraft is a tool, so you can use it to harm, you can use it to hinder. So I think, especially now in this day and age, I think people are kind of coming to that. So I it's nice to know that it's the fastest growing, spiritual practice in religion, because I think people need to start reclaiming for themselves.
I think so too. And what I think is nice about it, because I'm kind of a tree hugger, is that it gives you some elemental awareness.
It does, because it's the earth, right? I think now I think people are finally realizing that it's, I mean, yes, spirit can help, but also the earth is going to help us too. You know, like I think we do need to hug those trees, and I think our temple doesn't need to be made of granite and polished, you know, stone. Our temple is the tree that is nourishing us.
Yeah. Because again, I was raised not religious because of my powerful atheist academic grandpa, but I had the sight, like you had the sight, and I would see the energy at a church or a temple or a mosque or a synagogue or a park,
Yeah.
and I'd see that the energy, and I want to go in, and I didn't know why we didn't go to we went to the park, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's so
amazing.
true. And I think, you know, I don't know, when I think of, I feel like we have long neglected nature. And I think that is something that needs to be more aware. And it's great to see. I see a lot of people that are public, like green witchcraft, and I was like, yes, let's do more of that. Let's connect
Completely.
back with nature, because that's really, I mean, green witchcraft is witchcraft, you know, like
Yeah.
let's get back together with the association of plants and herbs. And you know, it's so funny because my mom, just yesterday we were talking about how everyone's pushing the pharmaceuticals, you know, they push that. And it's like, you know, aspirin is really white willow bark, if you think about it. Like, let's get back to the natural stuff.
Let's go back to naturals. Yes. Thank you for that. I love you, Dylan. You're
I mean, I do
beautiful.
love an aspirin now and then.
Yeah, no, and we did. I don't know when we became this industrialized, like the 1950s, and we're in controlled temperature and we're in controlled light, and we forgot about moon cycles and we forgot about planets and we forgot about
Absolutely.
breath and we forgot everything, and then we're numb walking zombies.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
this is waking us back up.
Yeah, I was in a reading earlier today, and this, they couldn't stop looking at their phone. It was like a phantom. And then I was like, do you need a moment? Can you be in this space? Because people are so like, oh, I got a notification. I got a notification. I have to be in whatever internet world, and they don't know how to be present too. And I see a lot. I mean, I'm
Oh,
sure if you go to dinner, have you looked and seen couples, they're both in their phones.
yes. If they're both on their phone, are they texting each other? It's like, no.
Yeah, I'm like enjoy that time.
Yeah, because I go to a lot of meetings or whatever, and we'd be say there's 10 people in a meeting waiting, whatever, if there's a casting call or whatever.
Right.
And in the olden days, 10 people would be like, you know, they'd be shy or they'd be, hi, how you doing? And you kind of look, and then you might start talking or good. Now, every one of them is in their phone.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think it is a escape, you know, from social. But I mean, if you're like, if you're on a date with a hubby, be there with the hubby, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
like, you know, and friends too. Like I see, we get a lot of kids that come in, and like they'll be just like on the phone, and it's like, why hang out with your friends if who's on that phone?
I know. That's good. I mean, we have our phones. I'm going to hold up 3 cell phones right
Oh
now.
yeah, yeah,
We have
yeah.
our phones, but I'm not going to sit on it now.
Wait,
No,
Patty, why do you have 3 phones?
I don't know, because I know I have more than 3. I have 3 landlines that don't work, 3 cell phones. It's insane, but I can put them down.
It's same.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. So, oh my gosh. Well, tell people, this has been so what I have so many questions, but tell people how they can find you, where they can find your shop, however you are on
Yes.
social media. What about your books?
Yes.
The
So
people
I've
wanna
written
know.
3 books. I have a 4th one on the way that I can't really talk about yet, so crossing fingers. But my first one, it's a beginner's guide to candle magic. And as of like, I don't know, 4 days ago, it was like number 24 on Wicca and Witchcraft on Amazon. So it does really, really well. It's kind of my baby. Then I wrote a book, The Witch's Guide to Manifestation, which is also really good. And my newest one is Witchcraft for the Home. So I did a book on home magic, and this is a lot of folk magic that my grandmother taught me, like the importance of vinegar, and what vinegar can do, and salt and lemon. So I have a lot of those spells that were just kind of part of my kind of up and comings. My shop is called the Olde World Emporium, old with an E. We are in Santa Clarita, California. So definitely check us out. And you can follow me at Mystic Dylan Official on Instagram. Watch out, because there are a lot of scam, fake. I'm sure I know you get them, because you were following me the other day. I mean, I know you're following me.
I told you
but,
need to read it enough.
yeah, but another you.
Yeah, no, it wasn't me.
I know. And you had a dream about me, and you wanted me to get a reading and spell work.
Yes. I seem to.
So watch out for because I have several of those too. And then my shop is the Olde World Emporium. And we do classes, readings, healings, private events, all the good stuff. We have a nice space. We're about to open up a wellness center next door. So it's gonna be called Wellness Witchery. So
How beautiful is that? You guys, anywhere near Santa Clarita, you've got to get there. And otherwise, follow him, find him online.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mystic Dylan.
Thank you.
I will see you soon. Actually, I think I'm going to see you very soon.
Yes, I think I'm seeing you soon, because I think we're doing the vampire ball together.
Yes, we are. I think I'm coming to your place this next week.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yay, awesome.
So you guys check them out. Thank you, Dylan, for coming to the Witching Hour.
Have a good one. Take care. Bye.